Hello everyone, my name is Rania Putri Meliala. I'm from the University of North Sumatra, majoring in accounting. Today I will present the result of my assignment in the Accounting Information System course on Chapter 9 under the title is Confidentiality and Privacy Controls. Today's presentation topics to cover: the first is preserving confidentiality, the second is privacy, and the last is encryption. This chapter covers two other important principles of reliable systems in the trust services network: preserving the confidentiality of an organization's intellectual property and protecting the privacy of personal information it collects from customers, employees, suppliers, and business partners. We also discussed the topic of encryption in detail because it is a critical tool to protecting both confidentiality and privacy. The first is preserving confidentiality. Four basic actions that must be taken to preserve the confidentiality of sensitive information. The first is identify and classify the information to be protected. The first step to protect the confidentiality of intellectual property and other sensitive business information is to identify where such information resides and who has access to it. After the information that needs to be protected has been identified, the next step is to classify the information in terms of its value of the organization. The second is encrypt the information. Encryption is an extremely important and effective tool to protect confidentiality. It is the only way to protect information in transit over the Internet. The third is control access to the information. As COVID 5 management practice explains, organizations need to be protect sensitive information throughout its entire life cycle, including distribution and disposal, regardless of whether it is stored digitally or physically. Thus, the basic authentication and authorization controls discussed in Chapter 8 need to be supplemented with additional digital and physical access controls. And the last is train employees to properly handle the information. Training is arguably the most important control for protecting confidentiality. Employees need to know what information they can share with considers and what information needs to be protected. Next is privacy. The Trust Services Framework privacy principle is closely related to the confidentiality principle, differing primarily in that it focuses on protecting personal information about customers, employees, suppliers, or business partners rather than organizational data. Privacy controls. To protect privacy, organizations should run data masking programs that replace such personal information with fake values before sending that data to the program development and testing system. Privacy concerns. Two major privacy-related concerns are spam and identity theft. The first is spam. Spam is unsolicited email that contains either advertising or offensive content. Spam is a privacy-related issue because recipients are often targeted as a result of unauthorized access to email address lists and databases containing personal information. The second is identity theft. Identity theft is the unauthorized use of someone's personal information for their perpetrator's benefit. Privacy regulations and generally accepted privacy principles. 10 internationally recognized best practice for protecting the privacy of customers' personal information. There are management, notice, choice and consent, collection, use and retention, access, disclosure to third parties, security, quality, and monitoring and enforcement. Next is encryption. Encryption is a preventive control that can be used to protect both confidentiality and privacy. Encryption protects data while it is in transit over the Internet and also provides one less barrier that must be overcome by an intruder who has obtained unauthorized access to stored information. Factors that influence encryption strength. The first is key-length. Longer keys provides stronger encryption by reducing the number of repeating blocks in the ciphertext. The second is encryption algorithm. The nature of the algorithm used to combine the key and the plain text is important. The third is policies for managing cryptographic keys. The management of cryptographic keys is often the most vulnerable aspect of encryption systems. Next is types of encryption system. There are two types of encryption system. The first is the symmetric encryption system. Symmetric encryption system is encryption system that use the same key both to encrypt and to decrypt. The second is the asymmetric encryption system. Asymmetric encryption system is the encryption system that used two keys, one public, the other private. Either key can encrypt but only the other matching key can decrypt. Hashing. Hashing is the process of changing plain text of all sizes and creating a short code called a hash. Hashing differs from encryption in two important aspects. Therefore, sending a hash to someone is not a way to protect confidentiality or privacy, because the recipient can never provide all the information from the hash. Next is digital signature. An important issue for business transactions has always been non-repudiation, or how to create legally binding agreements that cannot be unilaterally repudiated by either party. Digital signature is a hash encrypted with the hash creator's private key. Digital certificate and public key infrastructure. A digital certificate is an electronic document that contains an entity public key and certifies the identity of the owner of that particular public key. A public key infrastructure, or PKI, is the system for issuing pairs of public and private keys and corresponding digital certificates. Next is Virtual Private Network, or VPN. To protect confidentiality and privacy, information must be encrypted not only within a system but also when it is in transit over the Internet. Encrypting information while it traverses the Internet creates a virtual private network, or VPN, so named because it provides the functionality of a privately owned secure network without the associated cost of leased telephone lines, satellites, and other communication equipment. That's all of my presentation. If there is an unclear material, you can ask the column comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.